So currently we're in the process of taking our video business and turning it into a video agency. And so we're about 2 months into a mentorship program that we paid for the entire year. And there's a lot of things that I'm learning about the video agency side that is just kind of, it's making it seem like it's a large mountain to climb, but I'm motivated to get there. But in the process, I'm also realizing like I don't want to lose what I've learned in running a video business. And so what I want to do is kind of tell you guys some of the ups and downs that I've had in the last 5 years of running a video business and literally going from not knowing how to start a business to running a business with me and my wife. And we're able to do this full time now and actually, get ourselves on our feet and, hire other people. And which is why we feel confident to go from a video business to a video agency. But I know from a lot of conversations I've had on social media and in person with a lot of y'all that um, it's difficult and there's a lot of ups and downs. And so, a few things that I've learned in running a video business is one, a lot of people mistake kindness for weakness. Now, I'm a very happy, optimistic, easygoing guy. And I think when my clients hire me or when they have conversations with me, they kind of end up realizing like, wow, I will bend over backwards for you, right? Like I'm gonna make it work. If things get delayed or something needs to be pushed back, if there's extra edits, like for the most part, if we're good, like I will do anything for you, right? I'm that kind of guy. But there's also been clients that I've worked with or that I've been in the process of working with that have pushed my buttons in ways that it kind of made me realize that I need to stand up for myself when it comes to my business. And I'll give you guys one example. So there's this one time where I was going to be hired to film this really beautiful Airbnb property, and I was being partnered with this other person to do this. And the person who owned the property was a jerk to this other person that I was working with. And because it wasn't my project, I felt like for the most part, I shouldn't really say anything. But the way he kept speaking to her over and over again in our calls was just getting to be a little bit too much to me. Like speaking down to her and just kind of making her feel like not worthy of like what she's doing or really undervaluing her talent and her work. And so one day we're on this call and he's just kind of like going at it with her. And I'm just like, you know what? Like, I don't need this and all like everything that's going on, I don't want to stand for it. Like I don't like how you're speaking to her. I don't like how you've been. I don't like this and this and that. And I don't need your business. So we don't need to work together anymore. And dude hangs up. And then, me and this other person had to talk about it. And I had to encourage her too. And like, hey, like the things that you do and the skill that you have is something that should be invested in. It's not something that people should be nickel and diming. And so this was one of those times where I had to say that to myself in order to say that to that other person. And I had to step into that role of what it looked like to not be pushed around. And like I said, people mistake your kindness for weakness and think, oh, because you're nice or because you smile all the time or because you're optimistic. At times they kind of take it as ditzy or you're just kind of, too hopeful. Um, and they want to take advantage of that. They want to use that niceness to make you do more than you should. And there's going to be a lot of times in your video business where you're going to have to put your foot down and say, no, like my time is valuable. Especially after we had our second son, I would just think to myself, like, my time is more valuable now. Like, I don't want to be gone from home as much. Like, I don't want to be traveling as much. I don't want to be doing all these things because I want to be spending time with my kids, with my wife, and developing a relationship with them. Right. And so, what that made me do was also realize, hey, you don't have to be taking crap from anybody. Right. Like, you don't need to work with these people if you don't want to, which also made me realize like the clientele that I keep around is pretty much the one I will get. So if you don't try to get something else, and if you're not trying to improve, right? Like every now and then you have to deal with hard people, and especially in the beginning because you got to make money or you're learning the skill, and so you're just kind of taking anything. But if you've been doing this for a few years, if you've developed the style, if you've built a name for yourself, if you've actually have work that you can go back to improve that your skill is good, like you should not be putting up with those things. So one of the things that I just want to impart with a lot of y'all is take your work serious. Like this is you and this is a representative of who you are. And so don't let people just push you around and treat you in whatever way, because at the end of the day, this is your business. And if you want to work with other people, you can. Like your skill, especially right now when it comes to social media, things like YouTube and all this stuff that's going on, everything is video now. Everything needs a skill. And a lot of business owners don't know how to do that, or a lot of entrepreneurs and people who are trying to start businesses don't know how to do that. And so your skill is so much more valuable, and you need to be charging for those things and not allow yourself to be a pushover. And another thing that I had to realize that pretty much stemmed from that is the limiting belief that I had on myself. The reason that I would allow clients to treat me a certain way, or the reason that I would undercharge myself, or do extra edits or something like that, I felt it was because I and my work was not valuable enough, or I thought that I had to compensate for something. And I never knew where that came from until, again, I wake up early, I do a lot of meditating, that kind of stuff, and I ended up realizing, like, this is something that has been stemming from way past relationships and friendships, and when I was a kid and being picked on and all that kind of stuff. Like, the way that I would see myself and the way that I would talk to myself was really voices from other people in the past. And so when I was going into a meeting or talking with a client, and maybe there would be some friction that would be started up, I was so quick to think that I was the problem or I was the issue. And so then I would have to undervalue myself, underprice myself, or put myself below to elevate them, or to say, yes, whatever you want. And especially this last couple of years, so if anything, this last 6 months has really taught me this the most, which was, I have proven my work in myself in so many ways. Like, from my upbringing to, moving to Austin, to so many things, like, I've had to constantly fight to prove myself. And now I'm in the point, in a position that I'm actually proud of what I do. I'm happy with who I am. And so when I run into some of these conflicts that comes with being an entrepreneur and running a business and working with people, I need to realize, like, hey, just because there's conflict or just because something's going on, it doesn't not mean that it stems from you. And so I at times need to look into a situation to say, hey, what's going on here? Like, why do you feel this way? Like, why do you want to undervalue yourself? Why do you feel like you're not worth some of these jobs? Why do you feel like you need to do XYZ to get this or get that? And the reason I say that to a lot of you is because I get so many DMs or conversations with y'all where, a client gives you pushback and you automatically want to offer, five more videos, or you want to, deduct another $200 or $300 or whatever, underprice yourself so much more. And in those conversations, it's like, yo, like, at the end of the day, you're using your gear, you're using your time, you're the one editing, you're the one driving, you're the one doing this, you're the one doing that. Like, is your time really worth three, four, $500? Like, if this is a 2, 3, 5 hour shoot, like, you really need to think about everything you're bringing to the table and everything they're bringing to the table, right? One thing I hear a lot is always like, oh, well, this is gonna be a great opportunity for you, or we're gonna have some other people that you can meet there. And sometimes taking things that are a like a networking thing is good. And maybe you should do that at times, but not all the time. And especially, again, if you've been doing this for years and you've developed this skill and you've developed your brand, and you actually charge two, three, $4,000, like, you shouldn't be taking these jobs that are like, hey, we'll pay you a couple $100 and this is a heck of a networking thing for you. And it's like, yo, I don't need a network. Like, I'm good. Thank you. What I'm trying to say is, you have to get rid of this limiting belief that you have on yourself. Like, if you are doing this skill and you're really good at it, you have to realize you've had to learn how to use a camera, you've had to learn how to edit, you've had to learn how to properly post. Like, there's so much that goes into the skill of being a content creator or a videographer or photographer, that's why you're being hired, because they don't want to learn that skill, or those people have tried that skill and realize that it's difficult and they need to hire somebody else to do it. And so don't feel like you need to be underpricing and undervaluing yourself just because somebody else thinks that you deserve $200 for something they actually charge $2,000 or $3,000 for. So I say that as an encouragement, because I don't want any one of y'all to be thinking like, it's just photography, or it's just videography, or it's just this, or it's just that. It's no, it's your time. And you should be looking at your time as valuable, because there's always going to be people who are going to want to pay you what you're actually worth, but they're never going to pay you that much if you don't feel like you're worth that much. So you need to end up realizing, hey, I am worth this much, because not only am I learning my skill, but I've mastered so many things in the process of learning this. And so erase that limiting belief that you have on your mind. That's going to be something that holds you down for so long as an entrepreneur, and as somebody who's trying to run a video business or something like that. Like, it's going to hold you down for so long because you're never going to break past that glass ceiling, because you're never going to think it's possible. Like, you thinking to yourself, oh, well, I can't charge $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 for a video or a photo shoot. Why not? There's people out there who do it, so why can't you? And you think to yourself, oh, well, I don't shoot as good as this person, or that person, does this or that. Well, learn the skill. Again, that's one of the reasons that we're going from a video business to a video agency, because we know, hey, there's a way higher ticket there. And I want to hire a lot of people who are good at this skill. And so I look at having an agency as a way that I can help other people out who I'm very close with, or who have a skill that I think is really good. And I'm like, yo, like, you're a great artist. How can I hire you to do this for us? And so in the process of doing this video business, I've ended up realizing, like, I need to change the mindset that I have. And from going from a business to an agency, it's like, not only do I have to change the mindset, I need to completely destroy and demolish the mindset I had before, because if I even leave an ounce of that in there, that voice is just going to be whispering in my ear. And so getting rid of that in your pursuit of running a business in any way, shape, or form is going to be critical. One of the other ones that I'm feeling literally right now is stop being a copycat, right? Like, nobody's going to want to hire you when they could hire the other person, right? And what I mean by that is, so much of social media right now, and man, I am guilty of this, looks the same and says the same thing. And that's been something that's kind of been eating at me as well. Like, I think to myself, I say these things because I hear them from other people as well. And I begin to challenge myself. It's like, well, what do you think about this? Like, what is your original thought? Which has slowly made me get off of social media. Like, I've been doing more scheduling in my posts right now, especially, again, learning everything on the agency side of things has made being on social difficult, because it's like, man, it's almost like I'm going back to school. So, I want to be posting, I want to be active on there. So I've had to do more of that scheduling and just saying, okay, this is what I'm gonna be doing. But in that, it's also made me realize, like, who are you? Like, what's your style? I think for when I started doing the Ariel Austin and all that kind of stuff, like, nobody was doing it at the time. So it was easy for me to develop my style, develop my skill, do the videos I wanted to do, because I couldn't see that anywhere else. But in being a videographer, I see so many great videographers, and I'm like, well, I want to be like that, or I want to be like that. And so I attempt to be like so many other people. And in that attempting to be like other people, my work has suffered, because I haven't allowed my voice to shine in my work. And so realizing that, like I said, this is like one of the newer epiphanies that I've had, but realizing that has really just kind of shattered my mind, because it's like, wow, like, you almost need to start from ground zero. Like, luckily, I do have a way that I like to edit, and a lot of my work kind of looks the same. Um, but I need to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, what comes from you, and what is inspiration? Like, what in your heart and in your creative eye do you really like, and do you really want to shine through? And everything else, all that inspiration, cool. Like, if you want to sprinkle that on there, great. But you have to make sure that you are known for the things that you do. Because if you don't know how to do what somebody else is doing, but yet you're trying to, and then you want to market yourself as like, oh, I can do that, then you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, and it's going to cost you clients. And so what you need to do is say, okay, I'm going to double down on me, because I can do me the best that anybody else can, because I know me, right? And so the best way to make yourself stand out is to be unapologetically officially you. That's something that I've been struggling with, because I don't know how people are going to react about me, right? Because, like, I think about my driving force as a creative. Like, the reason I like to create and do videos and take photos and all that kind of stuff primarily stems from my Christianity. Like, I love God and I love Jesus Christ. And that was a thing that changed my entire world. And so learning about God and learning about Jesus, and one of my favorite conversations that I had with people, I remember once, it was even a conversation I had with an employer, because they were, I ended up getting hired. But one of the things they asked me in the interview process was like, hey, you went to seminary. Like, how do you feel like your seminary degree goes with your videography career? And I was like, it's very funny. I've thought about that as well. And I think where I land on it is that I get to do the same thing God does. Like when we read the first book of the Bible, the Genesis 1:1, it says that God created the earth. And the first image you get of God is that he is a creator, right? God is somebody who loves to create. And as you read throughout Genesis 1, he creates really good things. And so as I've learned to fall more and more in love with Jesus and my relationship with God, it made me fall in love more with art and with culture. And so when I moved to Austin, one of the things that I loved about living in Austin was the sunrises. Like I would be up at 3 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, I still am. But during the pandemic, I would go down there like at 5 in the morning just to capture the sunrise. And it always reminded me of the scripture, right? That the heavens declare the glory of God, or that his mercies are new every morning. And so when I would look at the sunrise, all I would think to myself was like, Lord, thank you so much for another beautiful day. Thank you so much for being faithful and making the sun rise again. And so my art was just a reflection of that. For me, especially during the pandemic, it was like I wanted to get more beauty out because I felt like there was a lot of darkness coming in, right? Everybody was closing their doors. You couldn't go out, you couldn't do anything. And so as a videographer, I felt like it was my duty to proclaim the glory of God uh, uh, through my drone work. It was like, well, the heavens declare his glory. If people can't go outside and can't see that, let me put it on their screens. And that was like the main motivator for me in my drone work. And so I don't know how people feel about that, and I'm not somebody who pushes my religion on people. And I'm not somebody who like, tells everybody like, oh, you need to be a Christian and not you're going to hell and all these kind of things. Um, and so I know we live in a time right now where a lot of people assume that. So even like talking about Christianity or saying like, "Oh, I'm a Christian business owner," like people will have a bad, taste about that. Like, "Oh, you're a Christian," or maybe want to attack you for it, or maybe want to, shine a bad light on you for it. And so that's been one of the struggles for me. But at the end of the day, I've also realized like one of the scripture that comes to my head all the time is, if you deny me before men, I'll deny you before my Father. And so as I've dug into like, what does a video agency look like, praise God, the mentorship we're going through right now is a Christian one as well. So like learning that it's possible to weave your faith, and not even weave your faith, but like allow your faith to be the foundation of your business. Like that's not just possible, like that's actually really good, because if you really are a Christian and you're living that Christian ethic out, you're going to be an amazing business owner. You're not going to want to cheat people, you're not going to want to rob or steal from people, and you want to give people the best work. Because if you believe that God is your true employer, then you're not working for the people who are hiring you, you're working for God himself. And so every work that you put out, you want to make it look the best because you're doing it for his glory and you're doing it for his praise, right? And so your clients just kind of get that's just a byproduct of you, right? It's like, wow, you're so great to work with, or you do such good work, or you deliver on time, or whatever it is. And for them, they think, man, this guy is just really good to work with. But in your heart, man, I'm doing it because of the Lord, right? Like God looks at my heart, and God looks at the intentions of what I do. And so if I'm going to cheat or rob or steal from you, like as a business, like he sees that, right? And so I think, being more open about it, I guess you can say, is something that I also want to pursue, because at the end of the day, like I love working with Christian organizations or nonprofits or churches, or just, people, Christian business owners, right? I've worked with a lot of them. And so for me, it's like, I don't know why I'm ashamed about it sometimes, or not even ashamed. I just feel like I don't want to rock anybody's boat. And especially like working a lot in Austin, it always feels like, once people find out you're a Christian, it's kind of, they give you the stank eye in a sense. But yeah, so being unapologetically you, being who you are, being authentic to yourself is something that I'm learning in this process of saying, hey, I'm not just going to be creating the content and making the videos that other people want to watch, because this is also a reflection of who I am. And if I'm not authentically, originally me, then why do people want to follow me? Why do people want to look at my work? If I'm just copying everybody else, Just look at the main guy who's doing it. There's a Drake line where he says something like, you know, I took a summer off and you couldn't tell, or something like that. But yeah, if you're just copying everybody, or you're sounding like everybody that's on social, then you have to ask yourself, why would people want to follow you? Even if you're saying the same thing, put a twist on it, make it your own. Again, that's something I'm saying to myself right now. And I don't even know when I'm going to post this, or I'm going to post this, but I'm saying that as an encouragement to everybody, because this is also a process and a journey that I'm doing. Like, I don't know if this is going to work, but I want to put myself out there and say, okay, let's see if it does work. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, well, at least I'm growing out of this, right? So I'm saying this right now as an experiment. Like, don't be afraid to be yourself, be who you are, and create the art that you want to create, because at the end of the day, you're going to die, and you want to be known for at least being yourself, right? One of the other things that I'll say is appreciate the clients that you currently have. Like, if you have clients who are paying on time, who are really good at communicating any changes to the work or the schedule or to the edits or whatever it is, like, those people are a godsend. And all of my clients out there who I work with, and you know who you are, who are on time with your emails, on your payments, all that kind of thing, like, you make this job so easy, right? And just, communicate with them, be great with them. Sometimes I like to over deliver when it comes to these clients. Like, yeah, I promised you 3 reels, but you know what? I'm gonna slide another two just because I love you, or not. I love. Well, yeah. I love my clients, right? Or hey, we'll do a collab post, even though you didn't ask for it, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, putting yourself out there for them to show them, like, hey, at the end of the day, we work so well together that at times it isn't even about money. It's more about, like, I appreciate your work, and thank you for appreciating mine, and just keep that relationship going. Like, stoke that fire, especially, again, for me, going into this agency part, is let them know your plans in your future. Like, me being open about running an agency and starting an agency and doing all these things has been difficult, because I know that, especially in Austin, there's a lot of people out there who say they do that. And that's like one of the most frustrating things for me is I hear all the time from my clients and from potential clients, like, we tried working with somebody who does this and they burned us, or they didn't deliver, they didn't do this and they didn't do that. And I'm like the third or fourth person they work with, and I'm actually professional in what I do, but they've been burned so many times that they look at me with a side eye, like, are you going to be like these content creators, influencers who do this and that? And I have to remind them, like, hey, I run my own business. Like, this isn't me with my iPhone, walking into your business establishment, and this isn't me, like, unprofessional, walking in like just however I want. I show up on time. I do what I say I'm going to do, and I'm going to deliver all the time, right? And so it hurts a lot of actual people who are trying to do this when other influencers, content creators, wannabe videographers, or whatever, don't take the work serious. And they burn the client, they hurt the client, and then we have to be the ones to kind of recuperate them. And I say this for, like, man, I've been doing this for almost the last 2 years with so many people who are like, man, this person did this or this person did that. And I'm like, yo, like, that sucks, dude. Like, and I apologize. Like, yo, like, I'm sorry for that, because I hear that so often, and I can tell and I see why some people may look at me this way, right? Which is one of the reasons why I've even started changing my Instagram. Like, I used to do a lot more collaborations, and I still want to do them, but kind of limit them a bit, because I don't want to be seen as like an influencer who goes to food places and does food reviews. Do I like to do that? Yeah, I love food, and I love a lot of the barbecue in Austin. Um, but I know that when somebody lands on my page and that's what I have for like the last 6 or 7 posts, it comes off as like, oh, this guy is just like an iPhone guy, or he's just a UGC creator, or he's just a content creator influencer. Which there's nothing wrong with that. That's the route you want to pursue. But like I said, it's like, yo, like, I come in with $10,000 worth of gear, $15,000 worth of gear. Like, I have a drone license. Like, I work with a lot of big clients. Like, I'm not just some guy who picked this up overnight, you know what I mean? And so when I do meet those clients and I do build these relationships with a lot of the clients who are really good and do so many great things. I'm like, yo, like I just want to reaffirm and reestablish that. And one of the ways you do that is by letting your clients know where you're going. Like I tell my clients now all the time, like, hey, we're building an agency. We're going to get on another couple of photographers, another few videographers, some editors, and we want to start running ads and we want to start doing all these things because I see that there is a pain there. I see that a lot of y'all are being burnt, a lot of y'all are being hurt, and a lot of y'all are being mistreated by people who don't know what the heck they're doing. And so I'm right now on the journey of learning that skill and helping people do that as well, because it's like I want you to succeed, because if you succeed, then you want to hire me more, right? If I'm really, really good at what I'm doing and you make money in what I'm doing, then you just want to work with me because I'm making more money, right? And when you have that good client relationship, you just want to build and double down on that. And so as an encouragement, if you have at least one or two clients that you're just like stoked every time they text, or happy when they call, pursue those. Come with the ideas to them. Hey, this is a really good trending thing, or hey, this is popping off, or hey, this is an idea I have, like, and this is how much it'll cost. Like, let them know that you're thinking of them as well, and that you want to help them progress in social media or videography or in whatever skill you have. And so, don't take the clients you have right now for granted. Appreciate them, give them a hug and a high five. The last thing I'll say is get back up. Being an entrepreneur, being a business owner in whatever way, shape, or form is going to beat the crap out of you, right? One of my favorite quotes is as an entrepreneur, you trade your 9 to 5 to a 24/7. Like, this is who you are. And if you don't make money, you don't eat, right? Like if you work for an employer, like all you really have to do is show up on work on time, do what the work tells you to do, clock in, clock out, and you're back the next day, right? But when you're an entrepreneur, when you're running your own business, there is no days off. I feel like that's one of the reasons why I like doing this, because I'm somebody who's up from 2:30, 3 in the morning, all day going with the kids and everything else, and going to bed like around 9 or 10 and doing it all over again. And I love it. Like I thrive on pressure, I guess you can say. And so being an entrepreneur doesn't really give you a day off. It doesn't really give you a breather. It doesn't give you any room. And if you're the kind of person who that stresses you out, you're going to, one, have to learn how to develop the skill of not letting that affect you and thriving in pressure, or two, this is not for you. And if it isn't for you, man, like then you may want to work for somebody else who's doing this, or you want to be like a good number two to somebody else. I know I need that at times. I'm thankful for my wife and she helps me out a lot. Um, and so don't be afraid to admit to yourself, like, hey, maybe I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Maybe I don't like the fact that at times my bank account's going to be completely gone and I'm going to have to live off of credit cards for a while. Like, that sucks, man. And I've had so many conversations with a lot of my friends who are entrepreneurs, and that's a story. Like, you have nothing for months, at times even years, and it's freaking difficult. But man, it's worth it when you stick it out and you just go and you keep going and you see the successes. And so, as an encouragement, just get back up. Like every day, something's going to happen. Every day, whether it's an up or a down, right? Like if it's an up, again, live on that, appreciate that, be like, Lord, thank you so much that I have those ups. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of downs. And when you're down, you need to remind yourself over and over and over again, like, this is temporary. Like this isn't going to last forever, because tomorrow's going to come, right? Like that's a reality. Like no matter what, tomorrow's going to happen, and then the next day it's going to go a week, 2 weeks, and then whatever that problem was, it's going to be over. And so what you need to realize is just keep holding on. You get knocked down, you get back up, you fight, you try your best, you go to bed and you do it again. That is the life of an entrepreneur. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Sometimes it gets a little bit better. A lot of the times it gets really hard. But that's also why having a community of people, having a good foundation, having a good reason why you're doing this, right? If you're just doing this for the money, literally go do something else. Like literally, you can make more money in other ways. But if you really love doing this and this is something you want to pursue, like remember that. Remember the reason you're doing it. Like I think about that all the time when I see my wife and my kids, and I know to myself, like, man, I get to be with them all the time. Like I get to be home, take them on trips with me. Like we get to go to resorts together. Jordan and Jack get to experience like going on trips and all this really cool stuff. And I want to keep that going for them because I didn't have that growing up. And so because I know that's my why, because I know that they are the reason that I continue to go and continue to get up and continue to swing and continue to fight, like I'm not going to get knocked down. And the times where it gets really, really difficult, those are the times where you just got to say, you put your head down and you just keep on going. And that's what it really feels like so much times as an entrepreneur. And if that's what you like, then there's gonna be a lot of that for you. And I hope that you're looking forward to it. But just keep getting back up. There are gonna be those days where, man, the sky's gonna be shining, the water's gonna feel cool, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I love this. Cherish those days. Live in those days for a while. That's what I try to do often. I try to remember that and say, like, hey, the lows are really low, but man, the highs are really high as well. It's worth it. Keep the climb, keep going, keep being encouraged. Like I said, part of this experiment is me wanting to put more of myself out there, put more of my, not just my creative style, but my reasons for creating. And let me know what y'all think. Leave me a comment down below if you like this. Follow if you're down for the same thing, man. Like I said, I really want this to be an encouragement to people who are in the same boat in whatever way of life. If you're a dad, if you're a Christian, if you're a business owner, if you're Mexican, if you're married, videographer, photographer, like there's just a lot I want to say about it. And for the longest time, I've held my tongue because I think to myself, like, it's not something I want to do. But in the last few years of talking with so many of y'all and realizing that if you literally are like everybody else, then you're nobody. And now me saying to myself, like, okay, like just be yourself. And if those who accept you for who you are, thank you so much. That's why I do it. And those of you who don't like it, then could, turn this off and go somewhere else. So thank y'all so much. I hope you guys will like a lot more of the content that I'll be putting out. Until next time, catch you on the flip side. Peace out.